Esteemed Senators of the Galactic Alliance, in the midst of these turbulent cosmic winds, I stand before you not as a mere officer, but as a beacon of unwavering hope and fierce determination. The shadows of uncertainty cast by Emperor Gallian's nefarious intentions may stretch far and wide, but it is in the very darkness that our resolve shall blaze. The report echoing through our chambers today tells of a storm gathering on the horizon, a storm driven by the relentless march of a clone army. Each footfall resonates with the dread that the fabric of our galaxy might unravel, leaving us adrift in a void of chaos. But we are not mere spectators in this cosmic drama. We are its authors, its guardians, and its heroes. The proclamation of Emperor Gallian rings hollow, a desperate attempt to cloak himself in the grandeur of authority. Let us not be swayed by the false echoes of power, for we are the embodiment of true authority, authority derived from unity, justice, and the unbreakable bonds that bind us together as one galactic senate. And as the chilling notes of the Leviathan's new conductor reach our ears, know that this symphony of darkness shall not overshadow the melody of our resilience. We face uncertainty, yes, but let it fuel our determination to navigate these uncharted waters and emerge stronger on the other side. The very essence of our galaxy quivers, not in fear, but in anticipation of our unwavering will. As your sergeant of arms, I stand resolute, my heart echoing with the tales of those who have risen against insurmountable odds. We are inheritors of a legacy forged in the crucible of adversity, champions who know the path of valor even through the fog of fear. And in this tempest, we find our strength, our unity, and courage that defines us. Let every whisper of doubt be silenced by the roar of our unity. Let every step we take be a testament to the unbreakable chain that links us across star systems. And fear is but a shadow, and we are the eternal light that pierce through it.
Eternal light? There's nothing left in this world. You all are fools. Fools who do not understand what needs to be done. Senators, I have not betrayed you. I am simply the only one asking for a greater future, a greater world, a greater design. Yet you all sit here and you're playing your games. This is the problem. You who sit upon your lofty perches, draped in the robes of power and feigned wisdom, how I pity you. How I pity the worlds you claim to represent. For under your stewardship, the galaxy does not thrive but withers. You call yourself leaders? You call yourself protectors of worlds, guardians of traditions and civilizations? Yet, what have you truly achieved? The cosmos does not sing praises of your deeds. Instead, it weeps at your collective ineptitude. Group thinking is your problem. That's what you've been reduced to. Like a flock of starbirds circling endlessly, directionless, lost in the vastness of space. You debate, you deliberate, you discourse, but where is the action? Where is the decisiveness that this universe cries out for? Oh, but of course, you would rather indulge in political games, backdoor deals, and endless bureaucracy. The real issues, though, the dying stars, the warring worlds, the looming cosmic threats, they are but background noise to your self-congratulatory applause. You want change, you want evolution, you want progress. Foreign concepts to this esteemed assembly, I say. You who are supposed to be the beacon of hope for countless words are nothing but an anchor, dragging the galaxy down into an abyss a stagnation. You have become the very antithesis of what this universe needs. Not pioneers, not visionaries, but impediments, obstacles in the path of true progress. My progress, the Emperor's progress. The universe deserves better than this mockery of leadership. It deserves conviction, action, and foresight, and that is what I bring. That is what Emperor Gallian stands for. Qualities evidently scarce in this chamber. You are not the strength of this galaxy. You are our greatest weakness. For I am growing this empire. For I am changing the world. And for now, you have continued to make decision after decision that does not give you any yield or reward. This is why I have taken forward the entire investment into the clone army, and it is growing every day. The clone army becomes stronger. This is my entire soul, the entire purpose of saving this world, ridding it of all of the ineptitude that exists. This is why I have become the emperor. This is why I am creating change. This is why I am your last hope. I am the only hope. Once you realize that, you'll recognize that it is time to join the empire. It is time to join the world that is going to give us the peace that we deserve. Look at my army. Look at it as it awakens. This is me, growing every day with the most power that you will ever see. The clone army is accelerating faster, yet you, as mere senators, overlook this investment. You overlook this opportunity, and it is mine now. But this is just the beginning. I shall take control of it all. I shall become the true emperor. I will rise with the Leviathan, and I will change the course of history for the better. If you do not understand that, you are simply just a pawn in the game. Don't be a pawn, be something better. Strive for greatness and join the empire today.
Galactic Senators, I implore you to not fall for whatever deceitful traps that the ex-Chancellor may be bestowing upon you at this time. He calls you pawns in a game that we're playing where we've had successful outcomes in both GB-001 and GB-002. Do not let his actions dissuade you from the success that we've had up until this point. He's begging for your support at this time. Doesn't it reek of desperation to you? Please,
I
I
beg for
implore you.
nothing. I take everything, for I am an emperor, greater than all of you as individuals. I don't need you, but you need me. Don't forget, Sergeant Vega, who put you in this position. Don't forget the destiny that I've carved for us. This is our opportunity. The Galactic Senate is but a lies. This is what you must understand. Do not be just a simple sheep to this game. Work harder. Recognize we deserve better. Recognize the lives that have been lost due to the ineptitude of this. This is the only solution that is left. This is the only world that is recognized. Recognize that the Emperor is the one you must follow. Break these chains of the Galactic Senate. Sergeant Vega, you are the pawn. Don't play the game anymore. Be bigger than the game.
You may have allowed me to run for the position of Sergeant of Arms, ex-Chancellor, but it was this Senate who voted me into power, and I am proud to serve this Senate. I am proud to fulfill the decisions that have been made through this democracy that we've created within the Senate, Galactic Senate group. And I am proud of the outcomes we have got to this far, despite your attempts to, what I believe, sway us in directions that could lead to the downfall of our galaxy. What has happened here is democracy is winning, but you did not like the choices that were made by the senators in this committee. So you've decided to take things into your own hands and selfishly take control over what you felt was the correct decision. Selfishness will lead to your greatest demise, ex Chancellor, and we will stand united and overcome any obstacle you feel will put in our path.
Tell us, Senator, tell us, Sergeant Vega, how many lives have been lost? Look at the decisions we have made. We continue to cast lives away because we act slowly, because we act foolishly. Sergeant Vega, you know the data. You know what has happened due to our first few votes. We have lost planets. We have lost worlds. Is this what you stand for?
I stand for decisions that to be made for the greater good. Yes, we have lost lives, but unfortunately, that is the result of outcomes that need to be made by difficult decisions within this senatorial group. I actually think that the decisions that we've made as a collective unit has minimized the loss of lives that the risk presented at that time. And I am proud of the decisions that we have made here as a Senate thus far. These are casualties of war, as Senator Silent Mode has said, and I believe we have minimized them to our greatest ability, given the risk that posed to us at that time. And it was no thanks to you, ex Chancellor. Uh, your support did not help us overcome or minimize the loss of life those times. Despite your efforts, we made decisions that were extremely difficult through each and every one of these votes, and I am very proud to represent the outcomes of those votes.
You speak of collateral damage like this is something we should accept. This is where your weakness falls. This is where you all have overlooked. You think I am growing an army to take lives. No, I am growing an army to have greater manpower to protect the lives, protect this society, ensure that war is not a requirement or a requisite. This is the problem. Because we don't make the right investments as a galactic army and a galactic senate, we continue to fall short on supplies, fall short on manpower. An army is not an army built purely for soldiers to be able to wield guns. This is an army of humans and androids and the ability to change the course and give manpower to numerous planets out there. This is what the problem is. You don't recognize that you were acknowledging loss of life and you were accepting it. This is your weakness. For I am simply trying to protect all life, and this is why the clone army. The Leviathan is not here to attack. The Leviathan is here to protect. But yet we don't prioritize it. An ancient creature we have not seen for thousands of years. Yet we as a Senate overlook that. We are the fools. We are the reason we are in this situation, and you tolerate it. You tolerate the loss. This is why I cannot serve such a foolish Senate anymore. This is why I have needed to be greater to provide for much more than just what this simple Senate believes it must do. You are bound by rules. You are bound by limitations. You are bound to fall to the same traps as history. And this is why a Senate will always fail.
It is within those rules and those restrictions that allow us to have made the decision to give us access to unlimited energy resource power. We are exploring those options, and that within itself provides a significant amount of useful resource within our galaxy. We have decided as a galactic unit to also explore unending antimatter energy, which has gone successful up until this point, which will also provide a significant resource for our galaxy as a whole moving forward. Manpower is not the only thing that we need to be focusing on here as a galactic senate, and it is not the answer, an end all and be all of making sure that lives are not lost within this galaxy. Sure, manpower is something that is useful to have, and it is something that we do have here as a galactic senate, and we have wielded that in some of our decisions, and the outcomes have been impressive to say the least. You are
You
living.
vote for trinkets when lives are lost? Are you happy with your jewelry? Are you happy with your spaceship toys when lives are being lost? Sergeant Vega, tell him. Tell them all the lives that have been lost, the planets that we've lost because of what we prioritize. Is this what the Senate is supposed to be about? Are you happy with your charms? Are you going to use that halo effect now to protect the world? Is this the most pressing votes for a Senate that is losing lives every single week?
The Senate is very aware of the lives that have been lost and the planets that have suffered through the decisions that we've had to make. Let us not forget that, ex-Chancellor, it was you that should have been leading the Galactic Senate. For you to criticize any results that have happened thus far is actually a damnation as to your lack of ability to lead anyone. How dare
Your
you come
rule
up onto this?
Your rules have told me not to interfere with the vote. Your rules have told me that I am here to just structure it. Any influence I cast creates doubt in any vote. This is not what the position has been for. This is why the role of chancellor is broken. The role of chancellor is a babysitter for childish senators that try to vote and believe they're doing better. How many of you as senators have gone to any of these planets? How many of you as senators have actually taken your resources to support? How many of you as senators have saved a life while we are here in our own auditorium pretending to play games that we are better than the rest? Well, we are just all simple fools. We are all playing the wrong game, and this is why the Galactic Senate continues to fail.
And Chancellor Gallian, I do believe that all you have achieved up until this
Emperor
point,
Gallian.
ex-Chancellor Gallian, the only thing you've achieved up to this point is a collection of clone military men who are just sitting in a who knows where doing nothing. You've achieved nothing this far, ex-Chancellor
In two
Gallian.
weeks, in 2 weeks, I have one of the largest manpower brought to this world already, and it is producing at a weekly basis. This is what you have all failed. You find one off solutions. I have built a factory of power, a true factory. This is why your short term thinking plagues the Senate. You don't realize in 2 weeks I've already achieved this power. What happens in 4? What happens in 8? My ability to capture all of this will only grow. If you're doubting me in 2 weeks, you don't understand the true power that I hold. And this is what we are going to grow. This is why the empire is necessary. We must ascend. We must recognize the Galactic Senate has failed us all. This is not an attack on you as individual senators. It is an attack on the system. This system is broken. And I ask for you all to recognize if you believe you could have done more, recognize that maybe the empire is for you.
I implore you all to not feed into this attempt of swaying you at this point in time. He says that he doesn't blame you individually, yet he calls us fools each and every week after the vote results come out.
Because
He
you stay here, you play the same games. How is that not a fool, Sergeant Vega, when you see the same results and you continue to play the same game? How is this not a fool? You all are fools. You're still fools staying here. You're all fools not willing to stand up for something bigger and better. Recognize the problems in our system. This is the trap you are all in. You are fools until you make a better decision. You are fools if you continue to repeat the same process over and over and over again. I was a fool staying here week after week, watching you make the same mistake. But I won't let that happen anymore. This is why I have had to relinquish the role so I can make the right investments to protect this galaxy because I know the Galactic Senate is no longer capable of doing so.
I stand here in front of you, senators and ex-Chancellor Gallian, proud of the decisions that we've made. The outcomes have led to outcomes that we are proud of and have discussed here as a group as a galactic senate, and the items and the results of the rest of the votes shall lead us to the powers and opportunities necessary to overcome whatever short-sighted mission that you're on, ex-Chancellor Gallian. You talk about short-sightedness and a lack of comprehensive thinking. You think simply manpower is the way to solve all issues. However, the resources that we've been able to accumulate here within the GV-001 through 6 structure thus far will empower us to overcome whatever it is you have planned. We do not fear you. We stand united and will overcome whatever failed attempt you're going to try to put forward here in 2 weeks' time.
You're the fool again. You make assumptions. You don't even know what we are doing. You don't even understand. Clearly, manpower was one of our biggest weaknesses. We weren't able to deploy. How can you look me in the face and say that is not important? Manpower continually is the reason why we have failed on previous GV votes. Sergeant Vega, I'm glad you are proud. I hope that you could tell that to the families who've lost their lives due to the indecision. I cannot wait for you to join their funerals and tell them how proud you are as Sergeant of Arms, as behalf of the Senate, of the decisions you made that lost to the lives that have been gone and perished from this world. Sergeant Vega, have you even shared the results of GV-003? Have you showed what has already been perished and lost, where we have forgotten about planets that we will never be able to save again? Why don't we share that? And then maybe these senators will realize that we've been on the wrong path this whole time.
Yes, the results of GV-003 have come out, and there are some concerning outcomes there. But a true leader and someone who understands how actual reality works, Chancellor Gallian, is we're not going to win each and every one of these missions. However, we are going to focus on prioritizing the outcome we value most and utilizing our unity to be proactive and reactive to the results and any future options that do propose themselves to us as a galactic senate. There's going to be loss of life. There's going to be failure at times as a leader. It's how you bounce back. It's how you galvanize. It's not how you selfishly go on your own and do what you only think is right. Ex-Chancellor Gallian.
This is just what a fool would say to comfort themselves for their bad decisions. This is what we hear constantly from this group. What we recognize is there's no path forward. You continue to do these short-sighted decisions while I am the only one playing long-term games. That is how empires are built. We are going to bring a total new future forward. And this is where it starts. It just starts with the clone army. It starts with the Leviathan. But we have way, way more to share. We have way, way more to create and grow. And soon it will be undeniable that all citizens across all galaxies will look to the Empire for safety, will look to the Empire as their North Star, will look to the Emperor of Gallian here to recognize we were the only saviors of humanity.
Ex-Chancellor Gallian, you talk about future promises and future achievements that you aim to achieve and pursue. I am not swayed. Yes, you do propose a bit of a threat into what we are trying to accomplish here as a democracy and as a galactic senate. But whatever you have planned, we will win. We will come together within our unity to make whatever choice we have to ensure that you and your quote unquote empire will never come of power. And then you will see your selfish acts will actually lead to the demise of everything that you feel is right, which we all know is wrong. We live in reality, ex-Chancellor. Enjoy your fictional playland of clone army whatevers. And your attempt to wield the Leviathan's power, which we all know is a very difficult and complex opportunity to try to accomplish. You can try and think that you're going to be able to achieve these outcomes, and what it sounds is like you don't have a plan,
I'm
Chancellor.
the only
You
one
have
with a plan, Sergeant Vega. You are the ones with a fractured reality. For I am the one who've been investing. For I am the one who is ensuring to pick up the pieces from this fractured Senate that you now lead. I can see why this Senate will not be able to scale. I can see now very clearly why you all will recognize that you will need a new leader. You will need a new process. You will need a new framework. For I ask all of you who are warlocks, I will call out to you. I hope you will recognize that you will have an ability to swear your allegiance to us as the Empire, because the Empire shall prevail. With that, I leave you, Sergeant Vega, with this broken Senate, as I have no more time for these stupid games anymore.
Yes, all of your time must go to diddling your clone army, I'm sure. Enjoy yourself, and I hope the Leviathan eats you whole. Ex-Chancellor Gallian. I stand up here. I stand up here with you all, imploring you all not to be swayed by the ex-chancellor's attempt to try to use a fear-mongering strategy to dissuade you from what has been a successful outcome thus far. He points to loss of life. He points to loss of planets. We all know, if you are rooted in reality, that these are things that are going to happen within our universe and within our galactic empire. Those decisions are specifically why you are all specifically chosen to have an opportunity to be a galactic senator, to make difficult decisions and live with the results that could potentially be negative, and to have a sense of failure, but understanding how to proceed moving forward. With each and every decision that is made, there is going to be positive outcomes. There's going to be negative outcomes. Up until this point, yes, we have lost lives. Yes, there have been a planet or two that have suffered, but the overarching sentiment within the decisions we've made and the results that have come through thus far have been overwhelmingly positive. The biggest concern is undoubtedly the Leviathan that we do, which we can confirm after Gallian, ex-Chancellor Gallian's speech here. He's attempting to wield the Leviathan's power. He did not give any specifics as to what he's been able to unlock within that uh, specific opportunity. I believe he's probably still trying to figure that out, and I don't think he knows what he's in for. He wants us to assume that he's got a plan. He wants us to assume that he is the end all and be all of action and power, when in fact, his insecurities as a leader and as someone who can galvanize a community and a committee of this nature has shown to be a falsehood. If he can't lead the Galactic Senate here, full of strong, independent, critical thinkers, how is he going to lead a drone army? They'll follow his every single command, and his command is non-intelligent up until what I've been able to establish. All he cares about is manpower, manpower, manpower. That sounds like someone who is focused on only one aspect of being a leader and being a, a leader within this democracy. So he decided to go find and create some clones that will just say yes to everything that he wants. He doesn't want to hear criticism. He doesn't want to hear or accept any decision that is made outside of what he feels is best. I believe power has gotten into the ex-chancellor's head, and he's become power hungry, and that power is only focused in manpower. Now, I think as a collective unit, I implore you to read the announcements channel GB-003. Results have come in. It outlines a few things that I think we should really discuss here today, as we undoubtedly need to move forward with our decisions. We need to move forward together, united, and whilst there are some negative results in GB-003, let us not forget the overwhelmingly positive results from GB-001 and GB-002, and we still have further results to come on votes 4, 5, and now 6. So as far as the results from GB-003 goes, we successfully saved Seraph 6. I am going to read these just because I know a lot of people don't always take the time to do so. So the mission outcome, the interstellar mission to Seraph 6 resulted in a successful preservation of the planet's ecosystem. The dedicated efforts of the scientists and medical experts paid off as they effectively halted the spread of disease and rejuvenated the bioluminescent flora and fauna. There is a perfect example of why simply having a bunch of clone army med diddling around wasn't going to achieve a successful outcome on Seraph 6. This required scientists, medical experts, and comprehensive thought processes. Seraph 6 transformed from a desolated landscape back into a vibrant world of color and life, and the population was kept safe from direct effects of the disease. This was a mission that a lot of senators had significant concerns over, and which was 100% successful within our decision. So well done, senators. The economic impact, while the initial revenue loss of 30 billion nebuloids was not completely recovered, there was a sense of optimism and economic improvement within both the galaxy and that planet, and the impact on the life forms there. The public health crisis began to subside as the environment improved, the mental well-being of the inhabitants improved, and the population started to heal from the trauma of this disease outbreak. Food shortages began to ease, and the ecosystem's balance was restored gradually. Now, the next two outcomes have some concerns, which we will outline now. Cygnus 7, was partially saved with looming danger of the Leviathan. Despite dedicated efforts to mitigate the Leviathan's impact on Cygnus 7, only partial success was achieved. The specialized teams managed to implement evacuation procedures for the most at-risk areas and conducted some communication attempts with the Leviathan. Thankfully, the Leviathan is not causing damage to the citizens of Cygnus 7 at this time, but we have completely lost contact with the ancient creature, and it appears as though someone else is in control of its powers. Our fear, we are no longer in control, senators. That is obviously hinting towards what ex-Chancellor Gallian is suggesting, that he is communicating with the Leviathan. He claims to have its powers at its hand. I still feel that the Leviathan is much more complex than anything that he could ever imagine and attempt to wield. We will have to get further information, and I will source any type of resources that we have to get more information on how that is progressing with the Emperor and ex-Chancellor, and the Leviathan. The economic impact of the Cygnus 7 mission is the economic losses due to the Leviathan actions remain substantial, with deep-sea gem mining and tourism continuing to suffer. The economic impact of 45 billion nebulons persisted, although the partial success of the mission did help mitigate some of the damage. And the impact on the life forms there, the population of Cygnus 7 experienced displacement and disruption, but the early efforts to communicate with the Leviathan and implement evacuation procedures helped save lives. Despite looming challenges, some semblance of societal and ecological stability was maintained. I want to point your direction into these results as to when the disruption of the early efforts to communicate with the Leviathan went south. We were communicating with this creature. And we were able to save lives and save damage to be done. And then something happened. Someone intervened. I would dare to say the ex-Chancellor Gallian intervened and led to these negative outcomes within Cygnus 7. His decision, his selfish decision to focus only on his own power and his own will is the reason why option 2 was 50% successful. Without him getting in the way, I believe we would have saved Cygnus 7 at a 100% or to at least a 90% success rate. So he blames you for results as like this when he's the one middling in our affairs within our collective decisions. And lastly, before I come back to the chat, I will read the unsuccessful results of Draco 9. The large-scale transforming project on Draco 9 proved to be, the large-scale terraforming project on Draco 9 proved to be unsuccessful. Despite significant resource allocation and expertise, the desertification continued to advance, rendering the project unable to reverse the damage. The desert consumed a large portion of the habitable zones, and the survival outlook of Dracosian population grew increasingly dire. The economic impact on Draco 9 remained severe, with the mining industry collapsed and the loss of rare desert gems revenue exacerbating the economic crisis, and the export of advanced survival gear did little to offset those losses. The impact on the life forms, the population of Draco 9 did suffer greatly, with the planet's conditions becoming increasingly inhospitable. There was a 20% loss of life due to severe conditions escalating, and the remaining population faced an uncertain and unsustainable future. Now, as your Sergeant of Arms, I have placed resources to ensure that the citizens of Draco 9 will be reallocated with a sense of purpose and organization. I do believe that Draco 9 is really the only planet that we failed, and we will have to understand that the consequences of our vote from GB-001 allowed for an opportunity in GB-003 to try to mend any wrongs within the planets we did not choose. However, I applaud you, senators, for attempting to send resources to each and every one of these planets. We could have chosen to leave 2 planets alone and to not help them at all. We chose, as a comprehensive plan and as a collective unit, that we wanted to try and save as many lives as we possibly could. And we would have saved even more lives if it wasn't for the ex-Chancellor getting in our way regarding the Leviathan mission and attempting to communicate with him and dissuade him from our communication strategy, which was showing successful early on. Unfortunately, loss of life does occur, senators, and that is why you all are all here, because you can tolerate whatever that loss is, knowing that we made the decision that saved the most lives. I'm proud of it, and I stand by the decision. To me, a loss of life has to occur within these types of roles in leadership, and we will continue to move forward making the decision we feel is right as a collective unit. Now, I just want to read through the chat here before I go into the results of GB-006. There's a lot to discuss. I also see there are a couple hands raised. I do want to give an opportunity for some senators to join me up on stage. Senator Circles, I'm going to bring you up while I review the Galactic Coliseum chat. Thank you for your patience, Senator. All right. I see a lot of you are not being fooled by the ex-Chancellor's attempt to get you to join his side. Senator Circles, thank you. Senator Goku said, ex-Chancellor talks about loss of life, but if we choose to focus on the Leviathan, we would have done the others. Yes, Senator Goku, that is exactly my thoughts as well. Senator Circles, can you hear me okay? And if so, feel free to share your thoughts on what has been discussed thus far prior to us diving into further results in GV-006. Senator Circles, we cannot hear you at this time. You aren't muted either. I'm concerned there might be a connection issue. I will continue reading through the chat while he figures that out. I am so excited, and my energy is heightened by seeing the majority of you outside of Senator Njunka sticking together and understanding that the ex-Chancellor Gallian's mission and his purpose is negative in nature. The ex-Chancellor is just using a fear-mongering strategy and pointing at the very few failures within the Senate, and I wouldn't even call them failures, very few negative results, as an opportunity to jump in and say that he can fix everything with simple manpower and some communication with the Leviathan. None of this would have occurred. You know what? He's right. None of this would have occurred. What would have occurred would have been more loss of life. What would have occurred would have been a disunited Senate committee. And what would have occurred would have been failure after failure after failure. Senator Circles, I'm going to bring you back up on stage, seeing if your communication is now working.
My apologies on that, Senators and Sergeant. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, Senator.
Fighting.
Senator Circles, I think we might have lost you again. I'm going to bring a different senator up on stage, Senator Crypto Goku, while you attempt to try to fix your communication issue.
I'm back.
Okay, Senator Circles, please share your thoughts.
At another. Yes, I have several distinct thoughts on this. First of all, obviously, this self-imposed God Emperor Gallian, as I refer to him, this false prophet Gallian is already starting to try and pull us apart, our Senate, and we need to hold strong moving forward. We cannot be swayed by his false promises. His thoughts that we could have saved lives by choosing a clone army. He himself said during that choice of the clone army and others that it would not have been ready. So that is a foolish thought to be thrown around so flippantly to try and deceive us. Lives were going to be lost no matter what. I didn't necessarily agree with not choosing the Leviathan, but ultimately, if it were not for his meddling, we would have had the Leviathan as well. Personally, I would have chosen just to focus on the Leviathan, and I did vote that way. And I argued that we should have all voted that way, but that's ultimately not the choice that was chosen. And we have to abide by those senatorial choices. All we can do, banding together, is to talk and debate and think through and not make rash decisions moving forward. Obviously, Gallian has ideas of what the future should be, and we need to start preparing for those repercussions immediately. I hope that the choices that we have made will put us in that position to be able to move forward best.
I 100% agree, Senator Circles. I think that he is attempting to grasp at straws to sway any senators that he can towards the direction he feels favorable. He's even being so forgetful about the own words that he said when these votes were live. That's a very good point. Shadow Chancellor Lemon Boy, I'm going to honor that name given the fact that the ex-Chancellor now has left these halls. Please share your thoughts, Shadow Chancellor Lemon Boy.
Thank you very much for having me up here, Lieutenant Baglius. Now, as we well know, I've been away from this chamber for some time. That does not mean necessarily that has all been of my very own volition. I would like to recant for you a very brief story as to my journey thus far and why it might have been that I have been unable to voice my opinions and allowed this very stupid Senate to continue on with their idiotic choices. Whereas some, if I may just quickly begin, some senators may believe that a rash decision is foolish in nature. A rash decision is not foolish in nature if it is divinely ordained and spoken to you through what I can only assume I am to be, some sort of demigod-like figure here to save and direct and lead this Senate down the direction of a true purity, with what true gut instinct that has led me in each and every voting occasion to make the ultimate and correct decision. Now, my dear fellow senators, I know that we are all wondering where the great Shadow Chancellor Lemon Boy may have once been. I tell you this story, for it is not a happy one. So do be kind to your ears, and especially the ears of young ones that might be listening at this very time. After one of my last and many great, incredible appearances, I went to the fantastic WWE showdown that we have here in Sector 543-2AB plus 6529. And after the show, I may have gone out for some celebratory drinks, for my bets were well placed. After enjoying those drinks, what was to happen to me other than for me to awaken in a sewer, surrounded by nothing but darkness, and the voice of a very evil yet undeniably purple man. Within that sewer, I soon quickly began to realize that I was strapped down to a chair naked, a wooden chair, wood to wood, as I would describe it, and then tortured Casino Royale style, lashed with a knotted rope upon my delicate regions. This went on for days upon days, and no questions were asked, and so I can only assume that it was truly a torture out of spite and out of a hatred for goodness and justice and all that is right in the world. When I arose from that great slumber, as I was put into a coma from the sheer excruciating pain that I went through, and it does make my voice tremble even to remember at this very time, I did spend a great deal walking the streets. I was set free on a random day on no accord. And I took that time now, and I took that time to myself, and I embraced a new identity. I walked the streets of my great galaxy / sector / planet that I was currently on at the time, and tried to better understand my constituents and my fellow man. During that time, I, of course, was without a penny to my name, and my many wives were of no longer consideration to my great and galactic mind. As such, I was sucking for survival, is a term that I would describe it. I will not go into detail. But during that time, I feel as though I became one with the common people and now have developed a truer understanding. And for that reason, I've decided to forgive my senators, my fellow senators, despite their stupidness and clear and displayed mental illness and also mental disability, if I may be so frank, Lieutenant Baglius. But during that time, I also wanted to see what it was like to go unheard, as I know most of your constituents are on a day after daily basis. And it was during this very session last week that a good man by the name of DeBose 22 was in this call asking to let his voice be heard. A loyal partisan, no less. A loyal partisan, but somehow a third-rate citizen. I was DeBose 22. I wanted to have my voice heard, and from that reason alone, I was shut down, denied the right to speak, and I question whether this Senate can stand upon its two legs for a moment further if it is never going to listen to the very people that we represent. Who is the fascist dictator in this case? Are we not trading evil for evil if we do not change our ways? And now I must remind everyone I do have a very sexy amnesia, so if I have missed anything for the past couple of events, it is surely not me to blame. But for the time being, Lieutenant Vegas, I had to have my piece be said.
Senator Lemon Boy, thank you for sharing that very detail-oriented story, coming to the age story, as it seems, for you to figure out what you value within the Senate. It sounds like it's full of forgiveness and still some questions to be answered. The fact that you came in here as the boss 22 last week, we made it very clear, Senator, that we wanted 1 week of loyalty within that person's voice, and we were welcoming them up on stage the following week if they were to show their faces here again. I hope you understand that there has to be some vetting processes here in order to allow loyal partisans to step foot on this stage, as it has never been done before. Yet, as a collective unit, we were considering it, and I was going to action it if we were to see him again. I hope that you heal well. It sounds as though your voice is quite trembly, and whatever you've gone through, sucking and wood to wood, I think were two words that you used to describe your experience. I think you might need to take some time, Senator, and work on yourself, as I think some trauma has really been realized there. Perhaps your, how do I say, the way that your brain works may allow you to overcome these experiences at a faster pace and not look too deeply. However, I implore you to take whatever time you need to help heal from what has occurred. Whilst being somewhat unclear, I think we all have a pretty good understanding of what may have happened to you there after that WWE battle royale that you had the opportunity to see at GB-5943667AB plus. Thank you so much for joining us again, Shadow Chancellor Lemon Boy. Do not be swayed by the ex-Chancellor Gallian's attempt to, I'm sure, pull you into his ring of darkness. Hope we can keep you around, as I do find you extremely valuable from an opinion standpoint. And whilst you can be a bit harsh at times, your outlook is quite unique, and the more unique thoughts we have in the Senate, the stronger we are.
Thank you, Lieutenant Vegeta. Your words mean nothing to me as a robot, but I will take them under consideration nonetheless. Kindness is never unanswered in the book of Shadow Chancellor Lemon Boy.
Right. And then before we jump into the results of GB-006, Senator Goku has been patiently waiting up on stage. Senator Goku, I'm not sure what exactly you would like to address here, but I share the stage with you to share your thoughts with the Senate, and then I will move on to reading the results of GB-006 before we close this first discussion about all things ex-Chancellor Gallian.
Thank you, Sergeant Vega. Thank you, Senate, for having me. First of all, I'd like to address Shadow Chancellor Lemon Boy. I do share condolences for your genitalia. Couldn't have been an easy thing to go through, and we appreciate you taking one for the team. I have to address the ex-chancellor's thoughts on an emperor, the idea of an emperor rather than a council, a senate. In most workings in the universe, one single point of failure is the worst idea. To have multiple input that can make a decision is the best route to take. So if we look at what points the ex-chancellor was bringing up to focus on the Leviathan, he kept pointing toward focusing on the Leviathan, but he never said anything about saving the life. His focus was the Leviathan. So we do not know if the ex-chancellor just wanted to focus on the Leviathan and not save the citizens. So if we look at our decision, we got 2 of the 3. The only reason that we didn't get 100% on Cygnus was because of the Leviathan, because of the interference from the ex-chancellor. The loss of life was either minimal or non-existent on Cygnus. The only loss of life we had was 20% on Draco. It could have been so much worse if we had picked one specific planet. We would have doomed the others, and the loss of life could have been so much worse. Also, in regards to an empire, if we look at the 100% verified historical documentary videos from the past, Star Wars, the empire is always the evil of the galaxy. They're always the evil. So we need to keep that into consideration because history always repeats itself. We need to learn from our history. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, Sergeant.
Senator Goku, it's refreshing to hear someone come up on stage and have a similar sentiment as to what I was sharing, and I appreciate your you doubling down on the ex-chancellor's focus on strictly taking control with the use of power or consuming as much power as he possibly can, rather than focusing on the potential lives that could have been lost if we were to choose any other direction. And he so conveniently leaves out the fact that every single decision that we made was, despite of his efforts, I believe, trying to sway us in a direction that could have led to worse outcomes. But with the interest of the senator's time here, I'm going to jump into GV-006 results. The winning options are A and E. That is the Celestial Nexus Halo and the Luminous Orianus Amulet. The ex-chancellor called these simply jewels. However, we do know that these have much more power within their, outside of just being beautiful pieces of jewelry. A little reminder of what we have chosen. The Celestial Nexus Halo's power and backstory is the High Oracle Lyrian, famed for her cosmic visions, saved planet Australium from a solar disaster and received the Celestial Nexus Halo. A pulsating energy source is amplifying cognitive abilities. The Halo interconnected with starry data networks, enabling galactic communication and access to ancient wisdom. Lyrian melded her prophecies with the Halo, steering her planet safely through cosmic intricacies, fending off celestial threats. Her legacy intertwines mortal intuition and celestial might, guiding Australian towards unity and galactic reverence. While that might sound like it may be useful at this time, would you not agree, ex-Chancellor Gallian? The unknown variable here, while the Halo's cognitive enhancements are well known, there are rumors of a hidden encryption within its energy patterns. Unraveling this encryption could potentially reveal long-lost secrets or unveil a hidden purpose behind its creation. So not only does the backstory and power lend itself to the situation we are in right now, but the unknown variable can unlock even more opportunities. I believe that we made a strong choice there as a group for option A, with the overwhelming vote of almost 30%. I will read the Luminous Orianus Amulet and then come back to the chat to discuss where we think these ancient trinkets might allow us an opportunity to wield them towards whatever the ex-chancellor has planned or fearfully said to have planned at this time. The backstory and power behind the amulet is Archon Valeria, a mystic philosopher, discovered the luminous Orianus amulet beneath starlit skies. Fueled by a dying star in Orion, it emits purifying light beams that heal injuries, cleanse toxins, and resurrect barren planets. Valeria's legacy resonates through cosmic enlightenment and the amulet's power of renewal. Its iridescent glow, a beacon of hope, echoes his devotion to restoring the celestial balance. Well, doesn't that sound quite useful as well? And it bodes or it rebuttals the ex-chancellor's focus on how we've let other planets perish. Whilst this amulet may not bring back life, we can bring back planets, it sounds like, with this trinket in our hands. The unknown variable is within the luminous Orianus amulet lies celestial flux. Its radiant pulses connect wearers to cosmic events, offering enlightenment and potential disruption. Oscillating between celestial insights and unpredictable consequences, the amulet's glow weaves a delicate balance between cosmic wisdom and uncertain outcomes. It sounds like with the amulet, we have a few more things to sort out to what its powers may be. I do believe that if we do research appropriately and take our time with what the unknown variable is within that specific trinket, we can use that to heal disease, bring back planets, and allow for our galaxy and the different planets within it to grow stronger and stronger. And perhaps one day we can get the citizens of Draco back on their home planet where they belong. There are some people who are unhappy with the option of E. We all know that we are not going to agree with every decision that is made. And yes, options B, C, and D leave room for the ex-chancellor to potentially explore himself. We can talk about this perhaps at a later event that will be scheduled shortly after this. I think what I'd like you all as a Galactic Senate and a committee to walk away from this is that we now have two new resources in our hands. We also have the quantum splinter that has more information that is to be revealed as we get further results from the team that is working on that specific mission as well. I do believe that with the power of the quantum splinter, a decision made by this Senate plus these two trinkets, we could utilize these powers to overcome whatever real plan the ex-chancellor has, which at this time I'm unsure he's even understanding what that is. I also like to leave you all with a sense of gratitude that I have within this chat and within the activity here. The Galactic Senators, we lost 30 more senators this past week in the vote, but those who remain are vigilant, active, and their desires and approach are positive and light. And I can feel us getting closer and closer together as a united Galactic Senate. Do not allow the ex-chancellor to break that momentum. Do not let him sway you into darkness, and do not allow him to pull you away from what your mission is and what your purpose is in this galaxy. That is sorry, I'm reading and talking at the same time. That is to remain responsible to the decisions within this Galactic Senate. It is to do what we each feel is best for the overall galactic community and the citizens that live in it. And I think if we stick together and make decisions and debate with one another and share each of our unique experiences and thoughts, we will always land on the best possible outcome. And we will be able to overcome any potential threat that faces our galaxy. Now, with that in mind, Senator Goku, I believe, were you a new member up on stage? No, you've got the duty and honor and role. Everyone else that joined me up on stage has it as well. It looks like a role was already distributed. I will not repeat its name as it offends me greatly. So we don't need to do that as well. I will be scheduling 2 more events to discuss the do a second role. That is an interesting. I like it. I like it. Why not? 2 roles, 1 event. I believe that this this event specifically is worthy of that. Let's see here. X, all caps, Chancellor, Gallian, Diddles, clones. And I'm gonna spell his name wrong in honor of Lemon Boy. Give me 1 second so I can distribute that roll, and then we will end this debate and look forward to further debates with each and every one of you as we continue to get more information about what ex-Chancellor Gallian is doing and more information on GB-004, 5, and 6. 1 second. There's a new function here within the channel second. Here we go. I got it. Should be distributed now. Taking its time. There we go. It has been added. Give it some time for it to react accordingly. Thank you, senators. I appreciate your activity and engagement here. I will see you all throughout the week. And as you can see, the vote of GB-007 is for its scheduled time, this time next week. Keep your sticks on the ice.